But it's we have Yuri with
cast me or audition me first. You can't just play whatever you want.
I love it. I love it. Discord channel with Ravassa lovers on it, and then there's a Johnny Cruz Discord channel, who is another voice actor. And for April Fools, they switched the names of our Discords. So now people here are thinking this is a Johnny Cruz live stream, but it's we have Yuri with us. How have you been in this crazy pandemic?
Oh man, I'm just so tired. You know, because we locked down pretty hard as a family, and so we've been like that for over a year now, and it's definitely wearing on me. Yeah. But I am grateful that I can still do some of my work from home.
A ton. You know, that's
yeah.
Have you gone into studios to record a little bit, or mostly in your
I have not gone into a studio in over a year. Thankfully, I have a pretty good setup, but that I already had something, you know, sort of set up before.
Yeah.
And so that I did have to make some modifications and upgrades, but it allowed me to keep working through quarantine, which is.
What's that cool shiny stuff? Is it in the booth or is it part of the door?
It's in the. I'll tell you what. I was having problems with reflection on the against the glass, and so I hung, you know, those bath things that go in the bottom of your bath, like pebbles.
Yes.
It's just a bath mat, but it looks great, right?
And it was a reflection for when you're on or when you're in the booth?
It's when I'm in the booth, yeah, the sound was bouncing right off the glass, and I needed to break it up a little bit. Sorry, I just clapped right in the microphone. It's terrible. But so, yeah, somebody recommended one of those little sticky mats with the fake, you know, river rocks on it. And up in there.
Oh, cool. It looks very Jess Harnell pants-like. And jackets, you know, he would wear that as a cape.
Oh my God, the best.
So I'm getting very excited because people already are saying that you sound very much like Sasuke. Is he similar?
It's true. I would argue that my dirty little secret is that's not a secret to a lot of people, is that most of my characters, and you know, I used to hate that as an adult. I mean, as a kid, I never really noticed it, but even when I was a kid, I would listen to my voice, you know, back. I'd be like, oh my God, that's what I sound like. I mean, I think a lot of us do that, but.
Sí, se ve así, güey. Ok, pues no, pues mira, ahorita como en unos 10 minutos le tenemos que bajar a ponerle más. Sí, ok. Ajá, entonces, pero en unos 10 minutos yo me voy ahí arriba a nadar un poco. Sí. Entonces, como en unos 10 minutos ahí abajo. ¿Traes cores? No, tienes que comprar más. Ok. A ver. Échame la tele, pues voy a mirar. Porque no hay espacio para acostarte, pero para nadar sí. No, para nadar sí. Ajá. No hay nadie en la alberca, pero ya para agarrar un poco de sol, porque.
But I was like, guys, I sound like a little kid. This is terrible. But now that's how I make money, and it's. I hope it never goes away. But I always say.
Yeah. Well,
what's that?
You know what,
because there's a computer lab.
People here watching. And one of the questions from Booty Farts.
Okay, if anybody asks.
Hey, Booty Farts. I just want to say it out loud.
Right, yeah. Was, you know, when I record stuff, I think it was too much. Did that happen to you? And I remember feeling that. How do you get past it? Have you just, has it been normal for now? You still hear your voice? Well, I work with it, but I hate it that
Call us when you want to come back up.
Okay, we're here. Are you there, Yuri?
I am.
Hello. I might do a little dance while we wait for Yuri's internet to come back. Woo! Is it back? No.
Is my internet terrible? Here, I'm gonna do something.
Okay.
Hopefully will make it better.
Your connection is April Fooling.
Right, it is totally April Fooling. I'm gonna try to do something that's gonna make the connection better. I'm gonna see if I can plug in. Can you vamp for like 30 seconds?
Yeah. I'll
be right back.
Hey guys.
Vete bajando, voy a poner mi mascarilla.
Ay, ¿a mí me la traes?
Sí.
I know. background, and my mug takes it on. It's like kind of super rad. I dig it. Hello, Zyriel 2077. I'm doing great, O Poderoso Jefão. Nice to see your face recently. Yeah, we can talk. We can totally hang. Guys, so lots is happening in the world, you know, like the sun is coming out. It was warm. It's really warm in LA today, which makes me excited to get to the beach at some point. You know what I mean? My day is great so far, Sean, Mr. Wick. Thank you for joining. We have him singing. Today's some fake background. It's April Fool's. I got to give you some, you know, like beautiful dewy grass. The April Fool's prank was awesome, Merciura. Thank you. I enjoyed it very much. And Johnny, I'm sure, did too, but he's probably still sleeping. Yep. Yuri is frozen again. If you can hear us, Yuri, you're yeah. Salud de Cali, ve que magro X, ¿cómo vas? We got somebody from my home city. That's amazing. Yes, Mr. Sean, take a break from your work. All right, guys. So, because I know that you're going to recognize so many of his credits that are just incredible. Oh, he's also on Ruby. Holy cow. We got to talk about that. Much fun. Solo, a Star Wars story. A Swan Princess. Batman! Yeah, it's out of control. Oh, we lost him. We totally lost him. All right. All good. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Additional voices. See, sometimes we don't even know that people have done additional voices on these huge projects because they're just additional voices and they're not like, you know, the main character. But Lego DC Comics superheroes, incroyable. I wish I spoke French because it's beautiful, but I can say incroyable. Big Hero 6, y'all. The last Naruto the movie. You guys would dig that. I know you would, especially Mercy.
Okay, well that didn't work. That was the opposite of working. Whatever working is, that was the opposite of that.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that.
I just did a little dance. Not really. We've been.
I missed the dance. We're gonna have to do more dancing later. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry
No, we were talking about all your amazing credits and going down. I told everyone to go to your IMDb because there is inevitably going to be, projects that I don't recognize because I'm not a huge anime fan or a video gamer or whatever, and they're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't know he voiced this character. And those are the really fun things because I get excited about, them geeking out over you and stuff. So, yes.
It's totally acceptable. I want you to know, don't feel bad about not knowing all the things.
You know, it's hard, especially with the people I invite onto my Twitch because they're just so freaking talented. Like, Erin Fitz badass, dude.
Oh, no, she's the best. She is truly the best of us.
How did you meet her? You guys have a character that ships, right?
Yeah, we have several actually over the course of our career. But there's one in Persona 4 that oh my God, when you hold up your mug, you get the background on it.
It's kind of amazing. I'm drinking.
That's
I'm
great.
drinking grass.
Drinking dew right off the grass. It's beautiful. Yes, Chie and Yosuke are the two characters that people ship.
Oh, super cool. So talk to me though about does your Spider-Man also sound very much like your Sasuke?
Even more so. I mean, Sasuke is like he's really sort of moody and dark. He's that guy. But Peter Parker's just me. It's just straight up. I don't put anything on. I differentiate Peter Parker versus Spider-Man a little bit because we worked on that. They wanted to make sure that was a thing in the game. Because when he's got his mask on, he's just a little more confident, a little more playful. But it's me. It's 100%. I don't change my voice at all for it.
Well, what's interesting though is I close my eyes and I listen to you talk, and you don't sound like a young, 15-year-old. So it is crazy that you sound like very much like an adult right now, but in the context of these video games and animations, you do sound younger.
Great. Yeah. No, I mean, and I definitely like if I'm playing Ben 10, he's a little more, he's a little more like a teenager and let some of those cracks, get back in there, and he's that guy. But somebody mentioned earlier, they're like, well, you must be the other Ben because Tara Strong is Ben. That's true. We've gone through two Bens over the course of, actually, there have been some other sort of different iterations of Ben who come on for an episode or two that are played by other people as well. But yeah, Tara was the original one, and then I was Ben when they aged him up. And then they came back to a different version when they sort of did another reboot on the show, and she came back for it. So at least we're keeping it all in the family.
And did you have to try to voice match her, or they just changed the Ben 10?
No, they changed it up enough that he was old enough that the spirit was still there, but they weren't like, you have to sound just like Tara Strong. Yeah.
Please sound like a chick doing a dude.
Right, exactly.
Can you can you show me your Ben 10 again?
Yeah, I mean, he's more like this. He's like, hey, I'm Ben Tennyson. I've saved the universe about 1 million times this week. So that's that one.
Let's talk about why would we when we do 10-year-old characters or whatever. Why do we get raspy? I don't know a lot of 10-year-olds who are raspy. So for cartoons, we do this. Why?
I never really thought about it that way, but you're so right. Probably because it's the only way for us to get there. I don't know how to. I could try to do it, but there's still a lot of rasp in there. I don't know.
Yeah. And
it's just something. Bring me chili fries. That's what Senor Busy Man was. That was a good Ben 10 quote.
Oh, cool. You see, they're fans, so obviously they know what they're talking about. Yeah, totally. I guess it's funny because I totally want to book something playing a little 10-year-old boy who's a little dick.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I have to just keep it really clean up here so that it's like Valley Girl, whatever. So she's not raspy, but the raspy ones are way more fun, and I don't know why.
Totally.
There's just something mischievous about them, that makes it.
But it'll probably hurt at the end of the session. You'll be like, why did I do that?
Actually, the high-pitched ones hurt me more because I feel like I have a lower voice.
True.
I love that
True.
Sean Mr. Wick goes, I have a theory, 10-year-olds haven't hit puberty yet. Yeah, but then you'd think that they'd be going in and out all the time. Or that, I don't know, the rasp is just a tricky thing.
Yeah.
So talk to me about discovering that you wanted to be a voice actor, because you've also done some on camera stuff. You're very engaging to watch.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And you don't have a face for radio. It's meant for other things as well. Talk to me about the beginning of I'm really good at doing these things and I want to pursue that.
Yeah, I came out to Los Angeles like many of us did to, do TV and film. And I really I hadn't done any voice acting at that point. And, my wife, Tara, she said, we need to find some other things beside, because, auditioning for TV and film is just a brutal business. And, the work is so few and far between, especially if you're just coming out here. And she's like, well, what about, maybe we could do voiceover? And I was like, oh yeah, voiceover. Why didn't I think of that? I grew up, playing video games and, watching anime and stuff like that. So I should have thought of that right away, but it never seemed like a real job that a person could get.
A real job. I love it.
I didn't even know, I knew how to audition for TV and film stuff, but I'm like, how do you even, don't they just have 5 people who do all the VO?
Yeah. Well, they kind of did sort of at a time.
Sort of, yeah. At one point in time, you're right.
Yeah.
And she said, well, what if we took a class? And I'm like, great. I know how to take a class. So we took a class, and the teacher who taught that class ended up getting a job directing an anime dub and started auditioning some of his students.
Yeah.
And I booked one of the roles on that show, and I was introduced to that, that crowd of people, and then people referred my name around, and, one thing led to another thing. And so that was really my way in. And then in the meantime, I was still doing, on camera auditions, and I was auditioning for, looking for an agent and auditioning for, more commercial stuff, VO stuff. And, so just, little jobs led to bigger jobs, and it's became my career, which is really amazing.
And Tara was also pursuing film and TV.
Yeah.
And then you both were like, oh my God, we can do it kind of voices, and now that's right. our everything.
Yeah, I mean, we still do theater and film and TV, but those are more few and far between. The voice thing is what hit, which is great. And sometimes we produce our own stuff, and yeah, it's fun.
Do you produce your own animation stuff or on camera?
We have not, except for one episode of a web series we did produce an animated episode of it, a show called Shelf Life, which, for people who don't know it, it's like a live action Toy Story, but kind of dirty. So, yes.
Is it on YouTube? Where can I find this?
Yes, you can 100%. I think it's a Shelf Life series is our YouTube channel for it. But if you look up,
oh my God, I love it.
You look up Shelf Life series and my name or anybody else from the cast.
Yeah.
If they're no, it's super fun. We had a blast, and we did one animated episode of that, but the rest was live action stuff. We mostly, because we know how to do that, we mostly produce those kind of things.
Well, it's also, I mean, it's funny. It's not easier to do live action than it is to do animate. Well, I don't know. You know, if you have a camera, you have the people there, you just do it. Animation doesn't take that much longer.
Yeah, like that's a skill. You're right. But now, I mean, at this point, I could probably reach out and find some people who are good at animating things and maybe do something like that. You've just given me some good ideas.
Well, I was just, I'm trying to help this couple get an animation produced, and I know a lot of people in this world, but it's still a really tricky thing to get done. Sure. You know, so it's a beautiful art form, and it's also, like all of the other ones, really hard to break into, not just in voice acting, but to actually get your project produced. Yeah, it is easy to sort of fly by the seat of your pants when you're doing something, live action, just because everybody's got a camera, and so you can just sort of, hey, we've got some costumes out in the barn. Let's, put something together. So that's been in the past. We've sort of done that, but for animation, you need lots of time and animators, talent animators, and yeah. So do you have a barn, Yuri? No, it's just no. I don't have an actual barn. But I have a garage. It's sort of the same thing. Yeah. Do you involve your kid in some of these projects, or not yet? We've actually kept him out of, we don't even post pictures of him online. We've kept him we kept it really private. Now, if that's something he wants to get into when he's older, that'll be his. But we're not gonna. I know a lot of our friends, push their kids into doing commercials and stuff like that, and we have not wanted to do that. But if it's something he falls into naturally, I'm not gonna shut him down. Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel like I discovered acting when I was 5. Wow. Yeah, not professionally. I haven't been making money. You knew at that age. You were like, this is what I want to do. I knew, yeah. And it's funny because I did this solo for a Christmas concert at my school, and then the music director said, do you want to audition for The Sound of Music? That's the musical we're doing this year. And I'm like, okay. And I did the audition, and then I was about to get cast, and my mom sat me down and she's like, is this something that you really want to do? It's going to be a lot of hard work. You're going to have to learn lines. And I'm like, oh, I want to do it. But it was cute that she really asked me if I wanted to, not just throw me in because I was hyper and I booked the role, Yeah, right. Again, it wasn't professional, but you still have to have a kid want to commit to something and not just throw them in. 100%, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's super. Awesome. Wow. There was somebody told me it was a magic mirror for your first acting job. Very nice. Yeah, it's crazy. We all got to start somewhere. I do feel grateful that I was able to discover, know my passion and then just kind of follow it instead of maybe I'll be a scientist or, No, that's great because I didn't find acting until the very end of high school. But that's kind of a normal time to find it, though. It's also not late, Some people do it in college. So what was it in high school that hit? You did a play? It was something I'd always wanted to try, but I was always doing, I was sports or playing Dungeons and Dragons or, whatever. I was always something else was always much more important to me at the time. Yeah. And I finally thought, if I want to try it, if I go off to college, I'm probably not going to try it then. I should try it now. Yeah. And I tried it and did every play my senior year of high school. I just fell in love immediately. Yeah. And then did you go to college for some sort of performance? I did not because I was afraid my parents would stop helping me with college if I said, I want to be a theater major. I know.
So I did pick a school. I went to William and Mary, and they had a strong Japanese program, which I was also studying. They had a gymnastics team, which I was doing at the time, and they had a renowned theater department. And I'm like, okay, so I can go there for Japanese and international relations, international studies, that kind of thing, which my parents were into. But I could also spend time in the theater, and they have a good theater department. So I was doing both, you know.
I love that they were like, our son is going to be a diplomat in Japan. And you're like, no, I do cartoon voices.
And I did start out because even after that, like I went, I did my junior year abroad in Japan just because I love Japan. And then I came back and I wanted to go and really sort of cement my language skills and everything. So after I graduated, I went back and did work sort of in international relations in Japan for a couple of years. But the whole time that I was there doing this boring bureaucratic job in this amazing country, I was doing plays on the side, and I was studying with Japanese theater companies and Australian theater companies, and I was making stupid little, independent films with a, handheld video camera with my friends. And I was like, oh man, I can't shake this. This is what makes me happy. I'm going to have to go back home and try this professionally. And if it doesn't work out, I can always come back to boring government work. That's not going anywhere, but I don't want to look back in 30 years and go, oh, that was, I wonder if I could have done that. That was always so much fun.
I wonder if I could have been Spider-Man.
Exactly. I never could have guessed that was going to happen.
Right? That's crazy. So you lived there only 6 months, or did you spend more time in Japan?
I was my junior year abroad was a year, and then I came back for 2 more years after that.
Oh my God. So you're fluent in Japanese?
Pretty much. I mean, I haven't really had a chance to use it much in recent years, and so I'm sure a lot of my vocabulary is probably gone, but it's still pretty good. Yeah,
you understand the basics. I know how to count to 20 and how to say thank you, and that's about it.
You know what? That'll get you farther than you think in Japan, actually.
Like, how much is that? Ichiri-san, chi.
4. Right, 4, yes. Right, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing. I'm fascinated by people who learn such a different language, because I love the Romance languages, and I have Spanish and I have Portuguese, but they kind of work in my wheelhouse, Sure. Japanese is just this whole other, literal language. So when you booked that first anime role, was it crazy exciting because you have this connection to Japan?
Yeah, it was. And I think it did help a little bit that I could speak Japanese. You don't need to speak Japanese to dub anime into English, obviously.
No, I know.
But it gives me just a little extra insight, and was fun because I'd grown up watching, stuff like that, and I'd spent time in Japan. I loved it. It was, it's great, and I still do. I don't do as much of it as I have done previously in my career, but because the pay is terrible, and I can't afford to.
Yes.
But it still holds a very warm place in my heart.
That's amazing. What's one of your favorite animes that you've worked on? We have a lot of anime lovers here. That's why I'm focusing on this.
Oh, the list goes on and on. I mean, Naruto obviously is near the top of the list, but Gurren Lagann was another series that, both as a consumer of anime as well as an actor, was just great to work on. Code Geass. And I got to do a Robotech movie, and Robotech was one of those shows that I loved growing up that was done by the time I got into this business. And I was like, well, that would have been cool, but they don't make that show anymore, so there's no chance I'm going to get to work on a Robotech thing. And then they did this one-off Robotech movie that I worked on, and it was just, it's like every time I get to do that or play a character like Spider-Man or Superman or, something like a character that I grew up loving, from reading comic books and watching cartoons and stuff, it gets a special little check mark next to it. I'm like, yes, that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like we all have that one thing that we're like, if only. Like right now, I know that Disney's making their next feature is Encanto, and it's based in Colombia.
I heard about that, yes.
And that's where I was born and raised. So I feel like if I don't get on this project, what's the point of life?
I know. Those are hard. It's hard when you really want the thing and don't get it. Like, every time I audition for Batman, I'm like, come come on, I could play Batman. And even though deep down inside I know my voice is much more Robin than Batman, and I'll probably always be Robin, which is fine. But, you know.
Robin's more fun than Batman.
Sure, well, Batman's not fun at all. Never fun. He's too serious.
He is.
Yeah.
So I don't want to harp on
Hashtag
this.
Carolina for Disney. That's right. We should get that trending.
Dude, please, like, go to Twitter. Tell the people. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda's writing the music, but like, I don't think he has a say in casting. But like, I'm crossing fingers that I can at least audition. I just haven't come across auditions yet, so I'm like, I know it comes out in November.
I think it's early in the process for that, but yeah.
Well, they said it comes out in November, so I'm hoping.
Oh,
I know. Yes,
okay.
I follow.
They're further along than I thought.
Yeah.
I have played, the Nightbot says you could probably be Flash or Green Lantern too. I would love to play Green Lantern someday, but I have played the Flash once.
Yeah.
And Super Friends, the Super Friends sort of reboot thing that they did. So yeah, that was another little check mark for me.
Well, that's really cool because you can be Spider-Man in one and then something in another, and then, you know, it's like all these different projects.
That's the beauty of our business, though, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do a lot of different things. More so than on camera. I mean, you know, you would get cast as what you look like, and I would get cast as what I look like, and they put you in that little box, which is fine if they're casting you a lot.
Right.
But you know, you don't get to play a lot of quite the variety that we do, you know, in the business for sure.
Yeah, no, that's why I love voice acting, because I got stuck in like not being able to perform a lot of the roles that I would go out for. I don't look Hispanic enough to play my own people.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, but now all I book is roles doing Hispanic accents in completely different like nationalities, and that's like my bread and butter for Victor and Valentino, where we met.
Is that the first place that we met?
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
We were doing an episode of a photography class, and you were a really funny kid. How did your kid sound? Or teacher?
He's Baker, you know, he's the photography student, but he thinks very highly of himself, and nobody's quite the artiste that he is. He's come back a couple times, actually, which is great.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I love that show. I love Victor and Valentino. It's one of the scariest shows on TV.
I know. And when they do like scary like Halloween episodes, the director's like, let's go as scary as possible for kids. And I'm like, oh my God, I would hate this as a kid. Yeah. So we met on that project, and then I remember just like clocking that, because I was new to LA basically when I was working on that. And then I saw you at yoga, and we're in upside down, downward dog. And I'm like, I know that guy, but I don't know why. And then I felt like a creeper. And then I'm like, oh, is he a celebrity that I'm supposed to know? Like when you see Brad Pitt and you think you know him, but you don't know him.
But it was nice that you used his name and my name so close in sentences together. That happens to me all the time. I'm like, I'll see somebody and I'll be like, God, do I know them from college? Did I go to them from New York? Like, how do I? And you know, usually right as I'm about to go up and go, hey, like, oh no, you're famous. It's because I watch your show every week. Right. That's why.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. But then I did go, oh wait, no, we work together. I'm not a creeper. So I said hi.
Yes, I'm glad you did.
Yeah. But then I made the huge mistake of, I was at a Comic-Con in Stockholm, and they organized the Guinness Book of World Records, most Spider-Men in one space at the same time. So they had, I believe, 567 or some number like that. Everyone dressed in a Spider-Man outfit, and for all of 5 minutes, they needed to sit in this auditorium and put the mask on and sit there quietly for 5 minutes to like get the record.
How do I get? Sorry, go ahead. Finish your.
No, and I filmed it and I put it on Twitter and I tagged Robbie Damon.
Who is also a Spider-Man.
Who is a Spider-Man, but this was at the launch of the video game, so I just tagged you.
Gotcha.
So he was so cute, and he goes, it's actually not me, and then I did it again, and I tagged you, and then I had those straight, and I never made that mistake again.
Yeah, how do I get invited to Stockholm Comic-Con? That would be cool.
I will put you in touch with my people.
Thank you. That's it's funny because I get invited to cool places.
Yeah.
But rarely, and they speak, you know, English better than we do in Sweden. So it's not like one of the, but like, you know, people are like, oh, I went to this convention in, you know, Paris. And I'm like, how do I go to Paris? Oh, right. they don't care that, about the English voice actors. So.
A lot of countries, right? Japan doesn't care for Sombra in English. They've dubbed her into Japanese. They don't care about us. For the European ones, they're very particular. Like it's not like agents get all these things unless they're humongous. But for some reason, Sombra has resonated with people in certain countries, and they reached out to me individually.
That's
so then I jump on that. But text me and I'll put you in touch with Stockholm. Because are you kidding? Like that weekend was the launch of your game. That's why they were doing this Spider-Man thing. It was so amazing. They would love to. Are you kidding? They would love. They're huge gamers in most of Scandinavia, the Netherlands. Like it's crazy.
I love it. I visited some of those places, but really that was like next up on our list for travel was like a big Scandinavia trip. And then, COVID. So so that never happened.
I know. So we've had a lot of questions asking about getting into voice acting. And I know that it's something that we answer a lot, but in a nutshell, if you could let them know like the process of things quickly, because it's
sure.
There's no point A to point B, and then maybe a few tips that you throw out because we all have our different tips.
Yeah, I would say that's really important to note is that there's no you do this and then this happens, and even everybody I talk to in this business has their own sort of unique story of how they got exactly to where they're going. But I would say that it does help to be a good actor. Like I know the voice, the acting part of voice acting sort of gets lost in the mix because you get focused on the voice part. But I would say, and it's, I told sort of the story of how I segued into that. And again, everybody's got a different story, and so will all of you who get into this. But I would say focus on the acting first, in that what I've noticed in this business is that people who are strong actors are the ones who have longevity in this business. So also, acting is a big part of it, and you're going to want to find out if you like that. So I would say if you don't have any, experience in that, depending on your age and your location, you can either do, local theater or take classes, improv classes. If you're in a school that has a drama program of any sort, or even a drama class of any sort, or plays you can try out for, try some of that to see if you like it, because
to warm up.
Yeah. And here's the deal. If you fall in love with it, that's going to be your big secret weapon, because as Carolina, I'm sure maybe you just started off and just took off like a rocket, but for me and most people that I know, it's sometimes you're working, and then sometimes for a long time you're not working, and then you're working,
and you're waiting tables, and you're catering, and
so you gotta, when you're not actually, because here's the thing, when we're at sessions like we're at Victor and Valentina, that's fun. Like there's no other way around it. It's not like, breaking bricks or digging ditches when we go in there. But getting to those moments, we have to do all the auditions. We have to suffer, through the rejection. We have to not take it personally. We have to try to find out how we have another job so we can pay rent. It's a lot of stuff in between. But if you love, acting, even when you're not getting paid for it, even when you're doing plays for free, in the meantime, or, making stupid movies with your friends, or all that stuff, the love will carry you through, like the passion will carry you through. So I would say, concentrate on acting first, see if you like it. Because if you don't like it, there are plenty of other things you can do in life that are easier.
People get tripped up thinking they need to buy an expensive microphone, and I think
or have a cool voice or something like that, which you don't.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be good at acting and realize if that's even something that you want to try and do. I just read somebody wants to do it as a side job, and it's a really hard side job because you have to put all of your energy into it all the time. We're auditioning constantly. We don't hire, someone asked if we hire pros to edit our auditions. I don't. We audition too much. We don't have the money to do that. We have
the money or the time.
Yeah, you lay down a track.
Too,
Yeah, I got an audition last night for film and TV that was due today at 11 a.m. and it was like, you're not going to give me even 12 hours, and we just have to do it and get it out. So, and I do believe in, like you were saying, the short films and stuff. I do my web series that I put on my YouTube channel, and unbeknownst to me,
I'm gonna have to check this out. Yes.
I do a lot of characters with wigs and a lot of makeup. And they do, people have come across it and seen it and then go, oh, Carolina can do that accent. Let's call her for this. So,
great.
If you are putting songs on your YouTube channel and doing Fiverr and whatever, like, do whatever makes you happy to put work out there that could lead to work. We don't know, right?
No, that is huge. Here's another thing that I've noticed about people who have gotten into this business and made it, creating their own content. Like, you want to create content that's yours, that you're in charge of, that you don't have to wait around for. And that, in the end, if it really, catches fire, you own it. It's your thing. It's great to work on somebody else's project and get paid. But it is equally great to, create your own stuff and let that be what it is. Because at the very least, even if you never make a dime off it, and we've never really made a dime off of any of our productions, it fills your soul in a way that keeps you afloat. Yeah. And you never know. Yeah, like, people see stuff like that and they're like, I respect that person. They made that thing and they finished it and it's out there, and they weren't just talking about that script that they were writing forever. That never ends up being anything.
And sometimes we're too scared to put it out there. And I think that it does take balls to
100%.
To start something, finish it, and share it, because the excuses of not getting stuff done is always, what we can live off of. But
it's terrifying. And, now decades in this business, I still get scared about putting that stuff out there, even though I know in my heart and in my head, in my head more than in my heart, that, you can put it out there, and sometimes people just aren't going to like it, or they're not going to, or it's going to be terrible. But the more you put stuff out there, the better you get.
Totally. It can only make us better. I have a personal question here.
Shoot. Should I lean in for that?
At this part of the interview, everyone leans in. I love it.
Okay.
Have you played Spider-Man?
No.
That is a very personal question. Yes, I have played Spider-Man. Have I completed Spider-Man?
Okay.
Am I good at Spider-Man? No, that's why I gave up, because I'm just bad at games these days.
Yeah. Do you have a PS5 or 6 or 7 or whatever the PS are right now?
I have a PS5 that is embarrassingly underused. I don't use it as much as I deserve to use it.
Yeah. But have you played a lot of the other games that you've been on, or Spider-Man was like the one that you tried and then you're like, oh, this is that
Here and there I play. I used to play a lot more. And then I just stopped. I couldn't keep up after a while. And I've settled into a part of my life where I don't like games anymore that require me learning complex mechanics to, keep from, to kill a whole bunch of things before they kill me, or to stop myself from getting, my heart can't take it anymore. And so I like games that are, my heart.
That's a great question from the Nightbot, because I was wondering, you say a lot of the characters are very much like you. I want to hear maybe if there's a few in there that are a little bit different, or they have some fabulous accent. Do you have a bunch of accents in your back pocket? What's kind of like a lot of what you do for auditions besides when Yuri comes out?
I have some that are strong and some that are weak. Like, there's certain ones that I should have worked on a lot by now, because they keep coming up and I have not honed them. And so, so I do like they're like, okay, now do an Australian accent. I'm like, oh, right. All right, I'll sort of do an Australian accent, and I'm like, oh my God, if any Australian person is listening to this, I should get better at that. But then they're my French accent, because I speak French, is pretty good still. And, but no.
You speak French?
Asked me, yes.
What? You're multilingual?
I speak French, because when I was little, I lived in West Africa, and I went to a French private school.
Wow!
Yes.
C'est très cool!
C'est super cool!
Ouais.
Super cool!
Yeah. Wow!
Right. Boom, bam, boom.
C'est magnifique! Wait, so keep talking. West Africa, I love this all.
Yes.
French.
So my French accent is still pretty strong, but my Australian accent's terrible. My Japanese accent is really good, but because of how casting has gone, and which is, I believe, exactly the way it should be going, I'm not really up for as many Japanese roles as I used to be.
Right.
Because I'm this white guy, I'm just a white dude.
Did you do Japanese accents before?
Oh yeah,
I used to. Weren't so specific?
I used to get hired a lot to do Japanese accents before they got really specific about it.
How cool!
Yeah.
Would
which
you do
was
one on
super
here,
fun.
or you stay away from that now?
Let's see.
If I speak
I have Kankiel. I speak French with Greg Chun sometimes. Greg is a friend of mine. I love Greg. I was in New York working at the State Department.
That's why they wanted you to be a diplomat in Japan.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, I thought I was going to be following in the family business for sure.
Where else did you live besides West Africa?
Mostly in the States. My parents moved to Morocco, North Africa, after that, and I would spend time there, but I was already in college at that point, and so I never lived there, but I spent summers and, winter holidays there. And so I lived in Japan, and because my mother's European, I've spent a lot of time in Europe, but I've never lived in Europe.
How cool. Where does she live in Europe? Not that
she was from Austria.
Yeah, Austria.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So my German used to be good, and now just because I don't, have any chance to speak it, it's just gone completely out of the window.
Wow. How is your German accent?
My German accent is okay, but it's very easy to slip into like a German accent that's very almost like caricature. Sure, yeah. That's the one, yeah.
I totally feel like I want to learn how to properly do it, to be the hammed up version of German accents, because like the Three Little Pigs in Shrek, or what was it, Shrek?
Yeah, well, I think, yeah.
And they're all like, oh my God, they're so big. But I think they're hilarious.
But that's how I always start dialects. I always start over the top. Yeah. Like, I think that's how you learn a dialect. You start over the top, and then you have to work to sort of bring it back. But yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I first started working on the Australian accent, I was like, oh, it's like, yeah, I would sort of start by doing like a British, right, and then going from that, right, but it's like doing a British accent, but then you stretch your mouth out real wide, right, you stretch your mouth out real wide. But but then becomes a caricature immediately. And
well, what's weird? I was in Australia and I kept trying to do the accent. It's terrible.
It's not.
I say stuff like, sombra has a translocator and symmetra has a teleporter. So those words really help, like woulda, woulda, going up. But then at the end of the day, because I was speaking to fans all day in my made-up Australian accent, God help them.
Great.
But at the end,
I'm sure they loved it.
It was a little hurt because I was keeping it very nasal, and my throat hurt a little bit at the end of the day, and I'm like, I'm not putting the sound where it needs to go, but I was having a ball trying, I
know, and now I want to be like more, like I want to do like a better New Zealand accent, but it's that I always slip in and out of Australian when I'm trying to do New Zealand. Which is just offensive to both Australia and New Zealand at the same time.
They get so offended, yeah. Have you seen, Taika Waititi has a wonderful movie called...
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen all of Hunt for the Wilder People. I've seen all of his films, all of his everything. He is my hero.
Like Ricky Baker. Oh my God.
Ricky Baker. Yeah. Oh my God. Apparently that kid is in the new Godzilla vs. Kong movie that just came out on HBO Max.
You know what's funny is before I watched Ricky Baker, I watched another horrific Christmas movie with Goldie Hawn and her husband.
Yes, he was in that.
He was the bad elf.
I don't know why he was in that movie, but I just like that kid is working.
Oh my God, he's amazing. But he was so much more lovable in Ricky Baker than frickin', the bad elf. I hated him.
No, yeah, you have to love Ricky Baker.
Right, Baker. So listen, you're all like, oh, I just do Yuri, but you have a slew of accents. You have a slew of languages, more than the average white guy.
Right, true. Thank you for that.
What is one of your favorite characters that is very not you that you get to do in animation or video game?
Oh, man. It's hard because people rarely ask me to do anything that's sort of, but I did just get asked to do something I can't say what it is yet. Okay. But they asked me to do this really cockney sort of thing like this. And if you didn't know, you would think it was someone else for sure.
Yeah.
And it was, right? And so I'm hoping that goes through, that works out. But
oh my God, I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, it was super fun. Anything that doesn't sound like a 15-year-old is a nice stretch for me.
It's good. That's amazing. Would you say Tara does a lot of herself, or Now I'm gonna have her on.
Yeah. Now
so
you
I'm gonna
have to.
bug you to.
I might be able to do an introduction.
Okay. Let me know if you got the hookup. I don't know if you're on good terms with her. But
Right. If we maybe cross paths, I'll see. The next time we run into each other.
In the business, sometimes it's hard to ask for favors from other people who are really well established. So if you don't feel like that intro would be good for your relationship with her, just I get it.
Yeah, I might be uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. I'm sure that's something we can work out.
Do you work on stuff together? Do you help each other flesh stuff out, or you kind of are very individual about your auditions and stuff?
No, I think, generally we just sort of, we do our auditions separately in turn, but every now and then we have, we bounce it off each other. And we definitely have to ask for help when we're doing on-camera auditions, because somebody else is reading sides and they're, doing the camera, and then, we'll inevitably give notes. So, and I mean, we work on as much stuff together as we can, but, obviously we don't always have that choice.
And do you guys still audition for quite a bit of film and TV, or it's mostly?
It's mostly VO stuff, but like I said, we like to produce our own things. We've got some things we're working on, and then the occasional audition, or the occasional hookup that we get just because somebody we know is working on the thing, and they're like, "Hey, you want to come and play tomorrow on the thing?"
Yeah. Oh, nice. So wait, Michelle Nora Studios is asking, wait, how well does Yuri know Tara? Sorry, maybe that was too personal. It's not Tara Strong, if that's what you're thinking. It's Tara Platt. And the answer to that is?
The answer to that is we have a 4-year-old together, and we've been married for 20 years. So
I love it.
Yeah. So, but besides that, yes.
Yeah. And then the Nightbot, Oliviers know each other. Didn't you know? That's all funny because a lot of us do know each other. A lot of us don't. Like, I've never met Tara.
Yeah.
And I actually.
I was just going to say, it's funny because sometimes you would think that we know each other, and sometimes it takes like 10 years before we actually meet that person that we've been working with, for 10 years. Yeah.
No, in fact, Michelle, I didn't know until this morning that they were married. I have seen you post stuff because you do signings together, but I'll do signings with, whoever, because our characters are shipped. So I didn't want to assume anything.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
And I don't spend my time gossiping about voice actors, so I didn't know if, Yuri was married or not.
You don't? You don't spend your time doing that? But Michelle, no need to apologize for that.
Yeah.
Why would you know that?
Yeah, totally. It's so funny. But it is funny too, though. Like, I know of a lot of voice actors that I think are fabulous, and we just haven't worked together because we've worked on projects together, but we're never in the booth
never in
at the same time. Yeah. I do like group records, like we do for Victor and Valentino, because we get to
I miss that.
See what's going on and have fun with that.
Yeah, Zoom group records are not as much fun as being in the room.
I mean, at least.
But I also don't like. But I also don't like getting COVID. So it's a balance.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I feel like we've been very lucky to have this. We have these two careers going: film and TV, and then voice acting. And if it wasn't for voice work, I don't know where I'd be in this year.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Are there any exciting things you can talk about that you don't have NDAs holding your?
A lot of NDAs. The show that just came out on Netflix, Dota Dragon's Blood, is terrific. I'm super proud of it. It's 8 episodes.
That's based on a video game, am I correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's based on a video on Dota, the Defense of the Ancients.
Yeah.
Which I was not very familiar with before I did the show. And you don't need to be to watch the show, but if you are familiar with it, you'll probably like the show.
Oh, super.
For sure. But it's that just came out like a week-ish ago, and it's been great. And I'm really happy with the way it came out. There was a show that I did a couple of years ago that was only available on a streaming platform that Legendary had. It was sort of like their Twitch channel called the Project Alpha, and it was a show that I was super proud of, but not a lot of people saw it because not a lot of people were had that platform or were very familiar with that platform or were subscribers. But while official announcements will be coming out soon, let's just say that the people who didn't get a chance to see it will probably get a chance to see it soon on a platform that everybody has. It's a show called Orbital Redux.
Oh, cool.
And was a weekly live live-action science fiction show where we would shoot it like a play. It was just one take all the way through, warts and all, where it was a sci-fi show, all the visual effects, all the sound effects, all the music, all the filming, everything was performed live in one go. And it's one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Wow, that's cool.
It was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done.
Yeah.
But it was great, but unfortunately not a lot of people got to see it. So I'm happy to say that watch the space for Orbital Redux news coming soon.
Oh, super cool. And what socials can we find you on if we were to look you up?
I'm easily stalked on Twitter at Yuri Lowenthal. I'm also at Yuri Lowenthal on Instagram, but I pay more attention to Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah,
oh, really? Insta's so much more fun. Twitter's the toilet.
Yes and no. I like jumping in and making like a quippy comment here and there, and I don't always have a photo. Yeah, exactly, and I don't always have a photo for it. So
got it.
Yeah, but I like them both. I just spend more time on Twitter. I have cultivated a good group of people on Twitter where it's only rarely a horrible cesspool, toilet, dumpster fire. So
sometimes that's what happens. So before I shout 3 people out, I shout out subscribers at the end, and I ask you to celebrate that in a fun voice that you can make on the spot.
I will.
But before we do that, someone was asking about dairy. Do you feel like dairy affects your voice when you do voice work, and do you stay away from it?
Yes, right when I'm doing it. It doesn't affect me terribly. Caffeine actually affects me more. I know some actors need a cup of coffee before they go, but I can't. If I'm doing a session, especially like a 4-hour video game session, I can't drink coffee before it because it dries me out and it's scratchy.
Yeah. And I don't drink regular dairy milk these days, but I love cheese. So, there's you figure out your own balance. If you feel like you're getting phlegmy, then maybe...
Yeah, everybody's different. I know it's easy to say, oh yeah, dairy's bad for when you're VO, but everybody's body is different. And the stuff that bothers some people don't bother other people. So just do a little experimenting and see what works for you.
For sure. All right, so Jasmine Live, who just did a side shave and looks like Sombra. I shared it on my Instagram. Check it out. She subscribed for 2 months at tier 1.
Jasmine Live. Yes.
And she wants to thank Booty Farts for my sub gift. She says Saber Cifrado gave out
Booty Farts.
Booty's a regular.
Yeah, okay.
So Cyber Cifrado gave out not 1, not 2, not 3, but 10 community gift subs.
Cyber Cifrado, you are my new best friend. Let me tell you, you are the best, the absolute best.
Ouais, merci beaucoup. I am so excited for you and for me, and je suis très intelligent. That's the extent of my vocab. And the last one is El Pájaro, who I believe is in Brazil because pájaro means bird. Subscribe for 3 months.
Oh, pájaro. I don't know how to do a bird voice, but pájaro.
Yay! Thank you guys. Yuri, thank you for joining. This was incredibly fun. Yes, guys, tune in next. I always do Tuesday, Thursdays, 12 to noon. I almost didn't get Yuri on because he's such a busy man. He's got so many recordings going on. But guys, keep booming and booping.
Yeah, do that. Boop.